Well, what's up, everybody? I would just say it's been a minute. I was in Boston this past weekend or week. Let me fix my hat. I got a do rag on, so I'm trying to hide it and support my boy Joe Burrow. Not any inkling to the controversy that's going on right now, but um, but we will be talking about that tonight and a lot. And we're gonna have a great guest, awesome guest on here in a little while. But I want to come in here, connect with you guys, and say thank you for all the support. We are only, I think it's 240 subscribers away from 1,000 subs on YouTube, and we're trying to continue to build. And I'll say this: thank you to this name right here. The No has given me the opportunity, as one of the, I would say, is one of in this recent time, as one of the first people that got a chance to join the No, to get credentialed because of them and because of the work that we've done, as a group, as a community, to be able to go and be a credentialed part of the media at LSU football games. I hope that I get to do basketball as well. Y'all know my connections to LSU basketball are very, very strong. And I want to continue to build just the overall connection to this school, this university, and this great state that I love so much and that I get to call one of my two homes. So thank you guys for joining. We have a lot to unpack before Joy gets in here. Like I said, like y'all saw, Daily Joy of SEC Pretty will be joining us tonight, and I am so excited to have her on. This has been long overdue. I've been wanting to get Joy on since I started doing this podcast, but everything comes with time. So to, I would say today, really, it was at 1 a.m. or 12 o'clock p.m. or a.m. or whatever that a jersey number turned into something a lot bigger. Um, our quarterback, JD5, is one of the most accomplished quarterbacks in LSU history, right? Um, he is by far, if not the, well, he's not the, but he's by far one of the most well represented, one of the most respected quarterbacks and players in LSU football history. We only have 3 Heisman Trophy winners. And so, only having 3 Heisman Trophy winners, we understand what that means to us. We do understand what having someone like a Jayden Daniels means to us. Um, Give me one second. I don't want my face to be yellow. I have some stuff pulled up over here that I'm going to read and give y'all some sourcing on. Um, but he had one of the greatest individual seasons we've ever seen from any player at LSU ever. Him and Joe Burrow, right? As well as Billy Cannon and the Leonard Fournettes of the world and others. But now, just a few years later, his representatives have sent LSU a cease and desist, telling the school it can no longer use his name, image, and likeness. In this era of NIL, right, that we live in, this has become very prominent in the world that we live in. And the timing is kind of nuts, right? So last week, excuse me, and I'm not going to lie, that coffee is hot. It's hot. Um, I did it extra hot just because of this episode, extra hot. But because of LSU and Lane Kiffin keeping a promise to a player on our current roster under the name DJ Pickett, okay, number 5 has been given out for the first time since Jayden Daniels played there. Mind may I remind you as well that while Jayden Daniels was playing there, Kerry Vincent also wore the number 5 on the defense, and now Kerry Vincent's coming out and talking about how nobody's bigger than the brand. I'm not going to get into Kerry Vincent right now because I know some things about that man, and I ain't going to get into him right now, right? But how did we get to this point? How did we get to this point? Genuinely, I don't understand, right? So, ESPN was able to get a copy of the cease and desist letter sent to athletic director Verge Osbury, which then was shared last night throughout all of media, social media, etc., and now has been addressed by our quarterback, former quarterback Jayden Daniels, the starting quarterback of the Washington Commanders. This is exactly what's going on right here. Okay. And just think about all of these factors, right? So this is about NIL. It's about the athlete's representation. It's about family, and it's about the legacy of Jayden Daniels, right? Um, and it's what happens when college football becomes a business, no longer a game that kids play, no longer a game that you, in some on some rosters at some schools, maybe you don't earn your spot. Maybe you're given that spot because of the money that you make, which we saw over this last couple of years here at LSU under the last staff. But I want to break down exactly what happened. So let's start with the facts. Okay. I already mentioned how a letter dated August the 5th was then released to ESPN from Verge Osbury's office, right? The cease and desist letter that was given to us. According to the reporting, which is from ESPN and others, the letter says that LSU's previous NIL agreement allowed the school to use Jayden Daniels' name, image, and likeness NIL for 180 days following his final college game. So that would put it about 2 years offset of when he finished his last game at LSU. Daniels representatives now, all of a sudden, before the NFL season starts, before a couple weeks before LSU plays their first game, okay, that we are no longer authorized to use his name, image, and likeness. And it's coming down to ultimately a legal issue. Now, I will say, since I wrote my notes for this, a different report has come out from my friends at Tiger Bait, okay, and by Preston Guy, my guy that was on the show, saying that Jayden Daniels has not done two things. I'm going to get into the first thing. On the heels of ESPN's published article about the cease and desist letter, okay, filed by Daniels' legal representation regarding LSU to stop using name, image, and likeness. While all of this comes in the wake of the number 5 being worn by DJ Pickett, that is not the reason, okay? Um, it says that it was in an attempt to be compensated for the use of Daniel's name, image, and likeness and had nothing to do with the jersey being used. But Jayden Daniels and his camp very much so intended for this matter to be resolved privately, according to sources. Additionally, okay, this is the second part of this. Jayden Daniels and his camp, or Jayden Daniels never requested LSU retire his jersey, but rather LSU promised to do so initially of its own volition per sources. However, since then, LSU has attempted to offer the number to two separate players. Now, who are those two separate players? I'm not going to get into sourcing right now. I'm not going to get into certain things that I've been told because I'm going to respect that, right? Um, but I will say this. There was a player who recently transferred away from LSU that when they were a freshman was offered the number 5 that was not named DJ Pickett. I'm not going to say that player's name. Some people will come out and say it. I do know who it is. It's a player from Louisiana. Okay. And that's all I'm going to give you guys. That's just out of respect for who has shared that information with me. So, with that being said, this didn't start with DJ Pickett. This is something that has been offered in the past. And and I'm gonna look up his name really quick because I was talking about it with someone earlier. So let me see. So per Harry, I can't remember what his last name is, but Harry, one of the reporters on ESPN today, said that equipment manager offered this number to him. Okay, to this player that I'm not naming, and it's also been offered by coaches on the previous staff as well as potentially this staff. So understand this, okay? Sources noted that similar requests for the number 9, which have not been used since Joe Burrow wore it in 2019 when he won the Heisman national title, have not been handled in the same manner. However, sources added that Daniels remains close with Burrow and Pickett and is not upset with them at all. Daniels' frustration comes strictly and it's strictly directed at LSU's communication with all parties involved. Daniel published the following statement, and this is a statement that I want to read to you. And I'm sorry that I'm reading so much. Here in a second, we'll get into just talking, okay, and some debating. I have been locked in on training camp, and that's been my number one focus. I have a lot of gratitude for my time at LSU. I'm proud of what my teammates and I have accomplished there. Obviously, there are issues to be worked out between my team and LSU. My hope is that this will get done privately. My sole personal focus is on Commanders football. I realize the business of football is unique, and I trust that this can all be resolved. Okay. At the end of that, he put a tiger emoji and something, hail Commanders or something like that, right? So then in this article, this is not the original article, but I'll pull up Brian Kelly's part of this article. Okay. So former coach Brian Kelly told ESPN on Wednesday that he believed number 5 was promised to DJ Pickett during his recruitment, but Kelly chose not to issue it to him because Daniels wasn't on board with Pickett wearing the number. Obviously, Brian Kelly no longer is our head coach. Okay. He said this as well. I just wasn't prepared to do it until we got a full commitment from another Heisman Trophy winner, Jayden said, or Kelly said. We didn't want to issue number 9, so you can't treat one differently from another. So, here in a moment, I'm going to get into that. All right. Because they are different. Some of us may not want to agree to that. Yes, I think that if Jayden Daniels has 4 more games, his stats are probably better than Joe Burrow's, and we may win another national title. But those are what ifs. We do not live in what ifs. If we did, we would say, well, what if certain favorite players didn't pass away? What if, certain people still were here? What if we won national championship in 2011? What if we don't live in what ifs? We live in reality. And some of us need to touch some freaking grass and understand that this is the reality. The reality is that this does not look good for Jayden. Love Jayden to death. Love everything he's done and everything that he's going to do in the NFL and everything that he did for LSU. But this does not look good. And this also makes me question who is holding the reins? Who is controlling the narrative? Who is deciding to send these things to LSU? Who is deciding to send a cease and desist to LSU? And who also is deciding to make comments about a Heisman being returned? Okay. Which the reports were refuted by Preston Guy and his team. So I will say I appreciate the great article by Preston, super quick, great read. If you want the link, I'm actually going to drop the link here in the chat for y'all here in a second because I think it's a great read. So let me drop that in the chat. There's that link for y'all. Please pop in, comment, like, subscribe, and continue to be here for us as we go through this journey together. But the question that I ask is if you're promised a number when you're recruited by a school, does it matter who wore it before? Or should that promise be kept? And so this is what I have a hard time with in this circumstance. I think that Lane did the right thing by keeping the promise, but I also think that there's some responsibility that has to be held by Lane as well. And I think that he is taking that responsibility. From what it sounds, Lane behind the scenes is trying to have conversations and has had conversations with Jayden to try and mend this relationship. Um, but the first issue that I think has nothing to do with Lane Kiffin. We are outside the 180 days since Jayden last played at LSU, which means what? What that means is that issue number 1, okay, is that Jayden Daniels has a legitimate argument about NIL and getting compensated for LSU using his name, image, and likeness, okay, because that contract expired. The second part of this is the jersey, the number 5, which it has apparently been said that that is not the problem that he has, and he has no issues with DJ Pickett or Joe Burrow, okay? But I don't think that the 2 issues need to become one. I think this is solely about one issue. Respect of what he has done in his legacy at LSU. I'm going to group it together in NIL. He gets the recognition for what he did. He gets the recognition for the 300-yard game or 600 total yard game against Florida, right? Jayden is the man. He is one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever put on an LSU uniform, period. That's why he has a Heisman, and he's only one of 2 quarterbacks to ever win the Heisman at LSU, but only one of them won a national championship. And not to pin one against the other, but this fan base has been doing it all day long and all night long. Okay? Pause. I don't want to talk about the number anymore because we've already kind of established the point on that. But I do want to ask you guys a question, and you're more than welcome to comment. Should LSU have kept number 5 unavailable for Jayden Daniels? Do you guys think that number 9 should also be unavailable, or should it be a number that somebody can wear? But I will say this, when you think of greatness at LSU, yes, Jayden Daniels is in the conversation. Do you think more people are going to be hesitant to wear number 9 because of Joe Burrow and what he did and the greatest college football team to ever grace the face of this earth? Or do you think that they're going to be more hesitant to wear 5? Because clearly, one is not the same as the other in the eyes of all the players that have come to this great university, right? Lane Kiffin hasn't said much about it, and I don't think he continues to say much about it. Okay. I want to move on from that part of my segment. I was going to get into Lane, but I don't want to get into Lane so much. What I do want to get into, though, is PR. So now let's talk about the part that has gotten the most response, and it's how everything has been handled publicly. Because people aren't only criticizing Jayden Daniels, they're criticizing the people in his circle as well. So recently, today, Robert Griffin III called the cease and desist a colossal mistake, arguing that the jersey retirement should be an honor rather than something that is demanded, especially in the public eye. Give me a second, guys. Sorry. I'm just dealing with work stuff, man. Okay. So that's where the PR conversation comes into it kind of starts, right? Was the letter justified in sending? Maybe. Was it smart strategically from a PR standpoint? Absolutely not. Um, because legally he has the right to request a cease and desist in regards to utilizing his NIL from LSU, but it could have been a contractual agreement that LSU can continue using his name, image, and likeness behind the scenes without it ever going public. That's how I like Jayden Daniels is the quiet, cool cat that never even discredited coaches, just like Nussmeier never did, on the podium when he could have called Brian Kelly out. He could have called Matt House out. He could have made life hard for all of them, and he chose not to. Joe Burrow does the same thing. There's a certain level of responsibility that the player has to take, but when you don't play the game and you're not on the field, you take different routes to things. And it's not saying that the route is always wrong, but you have to deal with the repercussions of your actions. Okay. I don't think that the intentional message that was given here was to be difficult and to ruin his legacy. But I do think that there's a question that has to be asked in regards to how his people are running his PR and how his people that are in his circle, his media team, his mom, his lawyers, and etc. are doing things. And that leads me into my next factor, right? And I'm going to try and blaze through this a little quickly. And I know that this may be controversial for some. Okay. So pump your brakes. Don't be pissed when I start talking about this because I never, ever, ever, ever want to disrespect anybody's family. And this is not what I am doing. I am just cautioning. I am just cautioning for the next part of this. Okay. So if you watch Netflix's Quarterback, you got a pretty unprecedented look at Jayden Daniels' relationship with his mom, Regina Jackson, who has always been involved in his life, right? Has always been involved in his football career, talks about her involvement in his personal life, talks about her involvement in his dating life, right? But she also is a mom that's proud of what her son has done and what he has built for himself with the support of his family, his parents. She's been involved in his business life, and she's also been involved in his representation. And as of 2026, she reportedly is his sole certified NFL agent. That's important to kind of mentally throw in that bank to say, how are we moving about things professionally when a parent is running everything for you, right? So think of the relationships that you saw with Tiger Woods and his father. Think of the relationships that you saw with, I'm going to say this hasn't been brought up, Kobe Bryant and his family, and the distance that he put in between himself and his family, right? Everybody, like, think, and I'm gonna say this too, think about LeBron James's mom's involvement in his life and the distance that she has from his career in regards to dealing with all of his factors, right? Now, LeBron is 40 something years old. It's a little different, right? Because he's not a young fella anymore. But parents are meant to support, not lead. Parents are meant when you're grown, like Jaden, you were as old as Joe Burrow when you graduated college, bro. It comes a time where you gotta own your own stuff. And I think that something like this is what will make that decision for him or not. But again, I would kind of want to draw a line in the sand. And I'm not saying that Regina Jackson directed this decent cease and desist. I'm not saying that it was her choice. I think this is a group thing because I don't know that. And I'm not going to be cited saying that I know factual data when I don't think it's factual. This is straight opinion. Okay. We're not saying that she started the drama for her son. But there is a bigger question that needs to be asked here. And I think I asked it just a second ago, but I'll ask it again. How much influence should a family have when an athlete's personal emotions, business interests, and public image all collide together? Because those are all three very, very, very different things. Jayden Daniels, the person, may feel disrespected by what LSU has chosen to do by giving that number away. And I'll say LSU, most people are going to try and blame Jayden Daniels. This is a group issue. Not Jayden Daniels, Lane Kiffin. This is not just Lane Kiffin's fault. And it may not be Lane Kiffin's fault at all. He's trying to do the right thing by a kid who, let's just say, has agreements that are binding for him to wear a number 5. Okay. Jayden Daniels, the business and himself have to all like and his mom all have to be on the same page. And I think that Jayden Daniels, the NFL brand, has to think about what this looks like to fans, teammates, sponsors, and organizations he's playing for and he's a part of. So that Nike deal that you want, right? We're beyond the times of like Michael Jordan's mom speaking on behalf of her son, saying how great he is going to be. Jayden Daniels has proved how good he is. He does not need that type of push from his parents anymore. His game speaks for itself. And so that's where the professional representation, I think personally, you have to draw a line between family and professionalism. Okay. Let's also remember something. Okay. Before we get into our time with Joy here in just a couple minutes. All right. Let's also remember people didn't pay attention last year when Governor Landry said he sees possible criminal activity from these agents or representing the student athletes and coaches. Yes, I agree. I think there is a lot of shisty stuff that goes on behind the scenes with these agents. I'm not going to say that about Jaden's mom. I think she does have his best interests in mind, but I think maybe acts too quickly on things. Okay. I wonder now why he lost the locker room at Arizona. So there was a lot of, I'm going to say this, bro. You can find reports on former Raiders coaches and his mother and things that they've done that were not okay that have come out. And I'm not going to even group that into this. Okay. But there was a lot of reasons. And I'll say this too. We need to remember where the player that posted that video about Jaden Daniels transferred from. Because when you hate that you can't play somewhere, you're gonna hate on the dude that's able to go play there instead. Just keep that in mind, all right? saying that Jayden Daniels was, you know what, anyway. He wasn't. Jayden Daniels showed that he was not garbage. He is a dog. Okay. Jayden Daniels is one of the greatest quarterbacks in LSU history, and we need to give him that same respect that we give Joe. Okay. So I just want to say that I'm not going to compare apples to apples. They're not the same. They're not equivalent in any way, shape, or form. But Jayden had a great season. So did Joe. Joe played on one of the greatest teams ever. Jayden Daniels played on a great offense, horrible defense, ran by one of the worst defensive coordinators in all of college football history, in my opinion. All right. Last piece. And then I'm going to bring Joy up whenever she joins. Okay. Let's also remember something. Jayden Daniels isn't just an LSU legend. He didn't end his football career at LSU. He's an NFL quarterback. He's building a professional brand. He's trying to establish himself in Washington as the next great quarterback in that franchise. And now, during training camp, the LSU story has become a national conversation. This doesn't mean the story is going to damage his NFL career, but it does raise a legitimate question. How much noise does an NFL player want surrounding his brand, especially at the start of the season? Because this isn't to criticize Jayden for protecting himself, but the question that I ask is whether the strategy used to protect these interests creates an even bigger problem. And so with that being said, okay, I don't see Joy in here just yet. I think she will be joining. Oh, I lied. It's right on cue, literally right on cue. But with that being said, I just got her in here. I want to bring her up here in just a second. I see that great, beautiful smile that she always has on her TikToks, and the SEC Pretty brand that she started that I love talking about. I got to buy some hats here soon. But I want to bring her up because if there's one person that knows LSU football probably better than most of the men that I know, it's this girl right here. So
Honored.
hey, I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie to nobody. I don't watch enough podcasts to know. I ain't never gonna start no shit with you, and I definitely am gonna make sure to give you your flowers. So,
I appreciate that so
hey,
much.
I learned my lesson a while back.
Hey, yeah. I mean, I'll give it back to you if you're
You will.
yeah, if anyone says otherwise, I'm quick to give it back if need be.
That's facts. I've seen it. I've seen it happen live on TikTok. Okay, so you best
True.
believe it. You best believe it.
So
So,
true.
Joy, what's going on?
You know, I'm trying to pretend like this didn't take up my whole entire day.
What? Yeah.
But it did. From the moment I woke up to literally this exact moment, I have been either making videos. Thank you so much. Making videos about this
Yeah.
fiasco, investigating this fiasco, studying this fiasco, talking about it. I mean, it really has absorbed the entirety of my day.
Yeah.
I'm kind of over it. Like I genuinely also just at some point, like, can we have some off-season drama that is not about us?
Facts.
Like at some point, I would like to laugh at someone else. I'd like to laugh at another school. I'd like to laugh at like another controversy. I don't understand why it always has to be us.
Yeah. No, I mean I agree. It's been LSU for forever. I mean, we lost 2 head coaches this offseason. We gained 2 head coaches that were the most controversial hires in the country. And then it just seems like we never can get out of the news, right? So
Correct.
from 2019, like when Odell was dapping the players up and giving them money. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that started a kind of like I would say a train that has not stopped rolling towards us
Correct.
for a while. And
Yeah.
then it
It's
was Edo
just
doing what he did too, you know. So I'm not gonna get into that.
there's
But
that whole thing too. I mean, man, it's just like I love LSU. I am forever ingrained
oh,
into
that's
this
too.
place.
Yeah,
But like at some point, like I'm like, are we now this isn't on us. Like this is not
no,
on the university at all.
no.
But I just like at some point I'm like, are we ever gonna get out of our own way? Like, are we ever
Yeah,
gonna get to just like not be in the midst of chaos and drama? And I think the answer is no. And I've just gotta learn to live with that.
yeah. I mean, and so I saw your tweet today that you were gonna try and stay off of Twitter.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
It didn't happen at
No.
all.
I think I was off because we've been like bombarded with hat orders. So I was off for probably like an hour and a half just packing orders and like taking them to the post office and getting everything done. But then I got back on. I'm addicted to Twitter.
Same. Since I started podcasting, it's been kind of nuts. I ain't gonna lie.
I can't step away from it. And also like you now on days like today, like you miss so much if you aren't like constantly refreshing. And so, yeah, no, I was pretty locked into it today.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I was too. I mean, I was at work and I was probably more involved in Twitter than I was at work. And I just got back from Boston like 2 days ago. So it's probably not the best, but
they were going to learn one way or the other.
That's facts. That's facts. So tell me how you feel about, and I can't wait for your answer. I'm just going to shut up and let you talk here in a minute. And I might even, let's see if I can change our cameras. There we go. So, okay. What do you think about, or how did you react when you first saw this cease and desist letter sent to LSU from Jayden Daniels' team?
There was a part of me that was surprised, but then there was the part of me that wasn't surprised. And I think like it's been said over and over again today, so I'm repeating myself, but this is not new information. I don't put anything past Regina Jackson. And I don't in any way, shape, or form. There's a part of me that like wants to say I don't fault her because I would imagine that as a mom, you think you're putting your son in the best position to win. For sure. I just don't know if she really ran through the entire scenario of what was going to happen if this got leaked. I am aware of the fact that like they said that they thought it would all be handled in private. You've been, Regina specifically, like you are a agent, like you know how this world works.
Right.
And you were naive to believe that you would ever be able to keep this private, number one. But number two, like you obviously did it in an effort to preserve what you think is Jayden's legacy at LSU. But I don't think you considered the repercussions of that same action. And now you have done more harm to your son's reputation than good. And if there's one thing, like I feel like she should have learned and Jayden should have learned, is that like we're the most loyal fan base when we love you, but we are your biggest enemy when we don't like you. And I don't know how in like the years that they were at LSU, they are just forgetting this fact. And I'm just going to say this. There's a lot of conversation about his mom. And while I think his mom is the forefront of everything, this is also a grown man.
For sure.
Like at some point, put on your big man pants and look at your mom and tell her to shut up and sit down. Yeah. And you don't have to do it like that. You can be respectful, but like there have been times, and I am not Jayden Daniels, so no one take it that way, that like my dad has been like, hey, have you considered this with SEC Pretty? And I'm like, sit down and shush. This is not your wheelhouse.
This is my brand. Yeah.
Like I got to do this the way I got to do it. And it comes a point where Jayden Daniels should be willing and able to do the same thing. And he's not. So while I think that she is very much at fault and very much in play in all of this, at the end of the day, if you allow a grown woman to tarnish your reputation, that's on you.
For sure. And I think I was going to say, I hate to make it so last night I'm in Twitter spaces and they're all trying to compare like Geaux and Jayden. Yeah, and the first thing people want to do is try and make it a race thing. I'm not going to get into that. I think that's fucking ridiculous. I just will say that. I think it's stupid. I don't think it has anything to do with that. But I will say this, like the one comparison I'll make is look how different Joe Burrow's family and Jayden Daniels' family has gone about things and how connected they are to this community. Where has Regina Jackson and them been since Jayden left?
Yeah, you are putting on all these hometown clinics in California, a state that your son didn't even play college football in. Like, I could even understand if you went back to Arizona on occasion. Like, thank you for starting my collegiate career. But y'all spend more time going back to a state that didn't want you than you do to the university that, quite frankly, puts you on the map.
Right.
Because you wouldn't have won a Heisman if you'd have stayed at Arizona State. Call it what it is.
Yeah, and I mean, you had former LSU players making videos calling him ass anyway, right?
Like the way I'm him, like I understand that he had to come out with like some kind of statement. That statement was utter BS, if you ask me. And it was strictly just like a PR move. And
For
his
sure.
mom was probably like, you got to say something. Like, I've got to send some hot water here. Number one, the timing of this, abysmal. Like doing
For
this to
sure.
your son when he is preparing for the NFL, another year in the NFL, is insane on her behalf. Number
Yeah.
one. But just the downright disrespect to the university, regardless of like what your core, the root of the issue is. Because obviously everyone's saying that there's different issues, that it's not about the number, that it's like we're all having these conversations. Everything I've taken from this, I've mainly just taken from statements from their attorney, because I feel like that's the least thing that can get construed. But her behavior and his permission and allowance of her behavior are nothing but a slap in the face to a university that frankly gave you everything and put you in the best position to win the Heisman. The idea that like he's just forgotten about the fact that we weren't winning that many games.
Right.
And you like you're the LSU media, Cody Warsham, like went on a full like media tour to make sure that Heisman voters were aware of what you were doing, despite the fact that your defense was bad. Like an LSU employee did that.
Right.
And you have the audacity to ask for your Heisman back because you need two?
Yeah.
Like in what world? Yeah, in what world do you have this level of arrogance? Having not even won a national championship.
That's facts. That's facts. And I'll say this too. So there was actually an article that came back, and I think it's LSU or it's Jayden Daniels and them trying to walk back as much as they can. But Preston Guy just put out an article saying that this had nothing to, there was never a request for his Heisman to be given back.
I call BS on that.
Yeah, I am right there with you. I just think that it's very interesting that Jayden's statement is made that he's focused on Commander's camp. So if that's the case, and I'm going to bring this up because I don't know if you saw Brandon Ayuk's comments that he made on Instagram Live, but Brandon Ayuk even said it out loud that Jayden wanted to handle things privately. He did not want to come out and be public about it.
Yep.
And Brandon started going at his mama and everything like that. So that makes it very clear to me to who to direct the blame at.
Right.
I've said it from the jump. And last night people were getting on my ass because I was talking about his mom. No disrespect to Regina at all. You have to do I think that well, no, you're good. But I will say this, like she's trying to do what she thinks is best for her son.
For sure.
I think she's wrong in every way, shape, or form. And she's been wrong since ASU because she did some shiesty stuff there.
Correct.
Okay, with a coach who got fired from the NFL after those reports came out. But I think that ultimately Jayden does have to do what you said. He's going to have to stop carrying his mama on his back at practices at training camp, right? He's going to have to stop having pictures taken with her all over a jacket. And he's just going to have to tell her mom, look, like it's time for me to hire a different agent. You can be my mom. But I think that we should go this route because if not, this is what's going to happen to me. Because
respectfully, your son's going to end up single and alone for the rest of his life if you keep acting the way that you're acting.
He's freaking dating Juju and she's sitting in between them.
I'm like, what are we doing right now?
Like the dude is literally
Regina at some point, and I'm just gonna I'll say this, and I'll let maybe this will be disrespectful. I really don't care. I would say this to my own parent. At some point, you either trust your parenting and the kid that you raised, or you don't.
Yep. That's fact.
But the way that you momager him around and basically like stalk him, it's weird. And don't allow him to be a grown man. That just goes to show me that you're insecure in what you raised.
Yeah. And you shouldn't be, because I feel like Jayden's a pretty cool
kid. Jayden's a great kid. Yeah. Like you allow your insecurities to affect Jayden's life. Yeah. And there's going to come a time, whether that's this year, whether it's next year, whether it's 10, 15, 20 years from now, that Jayden starts to resent the fact that he's not allowed to be a grown man because he's always got mommy right at his heels.
Yep. Yeah, and there it's okay to be a mama's boy, but I mean,
For
ultimately,
sure.
like, I think Joe Burrow is probably a mama's boy, but his mama ain't up his butt. You know what I'm
Correct.
saying? So, and that's the thing that I wanted to ask too. Like, is there a way for Jayden Daniels to walk this back and fix his brand? And how long do you think that will take?
I do think there's like hope for Jayden. I think that like a very clear picture of this is like LSU fans do tend to have short-term memory. There were LSU fans that wanted Will Wade gone and were celebrating the second he was hired back. Those same fans were chanting for Ed Orgeron's job and thrilled the second that Billy Glasscock said that he was hired again. Their LSU fans are forgiving. They usually tend to need a little bit of time. So I don't know that like Jayden could come out this year and like magically fix things. But I do think if like an article came out or some kind of news report came out that like all had been settled, it was good. DJ Pickett is blessed to wear number 5. LSU's keeping the Heisman. All is well. And then like you come back next year and you are hanging out with DJ and you're hyping him up and you're supporting him and you're talking to our QB. Like I think there are ways that I think the point where we're struggling right now is that like all we're hearing is words with zero action. So you brought it up. Joe Burrow and his family are in Baton Rouge every year doing something for that community. Jayden Daniels is nowhere to be found. And so I think that that's one issue that the LSU faithful are really having with him is like you're demanding all of this of us, but like you haven't showed your face since you walked out of here with that trophy. And we put you on the map. Our brand puts you on the map.
Yeah.
And so I think if there was some action tied to some remorse, and some accountability, saying like, we probably didn't handle this right. Yeah. This is really like the forefront of it. And then I truly think like enough of us are aware of the fact that Regina's way too involved. And I think some separation from that would also go a really long way with us being like, okay, he has grown up. He's matured. This probably wasn't all on him. But he's owned it. He's taken accountability. At the end of the day, it's his name that we're all talking about. I think that mixed with some action in the community, with the team, with the current team, would go a really long way. The fact that Lane Kiffin had to get on the phone with Jayden Daniels and talk to him about this whole thing when he wasn't even his coach is like kind of, it's asinine to me that you would also take the time away in fall camp from our head coach to talk about a jersey that you no longer wear. And by the way, no one bothered to look this up today, but I did, that you're not even eligible for retirement until 5 years after. So you can't even, you're not even eligible until 2028. So you're out here fighting a battle you're not even capable of winning yet.
Yeah. Yep.
So I need to see a lot. I'm not saying I won't ever forgive. I've forgiven worse. Yeah. I mean, heck, we
probably
were
shouldn't, but
like FBI investigations for crying out loud. Like,
and Will Wade's back.
Yeah. We've all forgiven much, much worse. But yeah, there needs to be some genuine remorse and some action taking place before you're going to get any of the LSU faithful to bite on that hook again.
Yeah, that's facts. Well, and that kind of leads me into what I was going to say, which was about the point that you just made about the 5-year eligibility. Like, we haven't even retired Joe's number yet.
Correct.
And Joe hasn't been here since 2019, January of 2020, technically.
Yep.
So it's been 6 years, almost 7 years, and the greatest quarterback in LSU history, probably statistically the greatest player in LSU history, still hasn't had his number retired. And as much as people want to make it, like I said, a Joe Burrow, Jayden Daniels debate, if Jayden had 5 more games, does he not, or 4 more games, does he not play as well as Joe? For sure. I think that their stats are very comparable, with probably 1,000 more rushing yards from Jayden, just being honest, right? But at the end of the day, you didn't win here.
Right.
You didn't win an SEC title here, right? You had a great offense. Matt House is probably the worst human being on the planet Earth.
Brian Kelly's up there.
Brian Kelly's up there. he made some dumb hires, but I will say the only little bit of inkling of grace that I'll give him is he came here with no coordinators. That is a hard
I
thing to
can't.
do. I know.
I can't.
Over time, I've tried to find ways to just be like, man, like first year BK, I'll give him some grace. Matt
No.
House kind of takes that all away
There
from
are
me.
just like a couple people that if I ever see them in life, I'm catching a charge.
You're just
Matt House, Brian Kelly, and Les Miles.
that is
If I ever see any of
100%
those
getting
three, if y'all ever see a mugshot and I'm smiling, it's because I saw one of those three in real life.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I will start a GoFundMe for you to get you out of jail for that.
Honestly, I think the LSU faithful would come in pretty clutch with my bail money. Like, I'm not super concerned.
Sure.
And I'll plead guilty. I don't care. Worth it.
That's crazy. Listen, it's crazy because I swear we will all be outside the courthouse wearing your hat.
Literally.
It's like a cult, right?
Except Jayden and Regina. They will not be out there.
Yeah, they will not be out there. They'll be like, nah, forget that girl. Do you think that we should retire his number, though? Ultimately, down the road, him and Joe, do you think that they should be retired once they're eligible?
Well, in terms of like the number situation, like that's not a thing anymore. So we're retiring jerseys. We're not retiring numbers. Yeah, Joe, like we need to see Joe's retired like 10 years before we see Jayden's retired.
I need to see Joe's statue with a tiger
literally
with a chain around his neck walking.
With the borough spelled with the EAUX. Like I need to see Joe come much sooner than I need to see Jayden Daniels. If you would have what's so wild is that if you would have asked me this 24 hours ago.
Yeah.
I would have said yes. Like I 100% would have said yes. And so maybe my answer is still yes, because I want to be able to take Jayden the player and separate Jayden and whatever his camp is doing right now. At the end of the day, Jayden was like such a light in a season that was so dark. And I'm saying dark in terms of like the entire Brian Kelly era was dark for us. And Jayden was like the one bright light we got in all of that. And he brought us a lot of joy in a season that could have been a lot more like 2024 and 2025. Like those were like, there were moments that I was embarrassed. Like, and so I'm grateful for Jayden for saving us an additional year of embarrassment in the middle of like some years that were pretty bad. Like you look at the post 2019 era, and then you look at the end of Brian Kelly's tenure, like in the middle of that was the gift that was Jayden Daniels. Yeah. And so if I can separate this BS that's been happening for 40 or 24, 36 hours at this point, and look at who Jayden Daniels was to LSU throughout his tenure, yes, I'm okay with retiring his jersey. What I'm not okay with is the assumption that means that that you have reserved the right for no one to ever wear your number again, because that award is rewarded to one person only, and his name is Billy Cannon. And respectfully, like he's a much bigger deal on our campus than you are. So I think I have to I have to look at this from the lens of like this lawsuit situation or cease and desist. It's not even a lawsuit. Is it happening? The reality of the fact is that when they judge on who should be retired, it's on their tenure throughout LSU. And if they won a prestigious award, which was the Heisman, and if they qualify for a Hall of Fame credibility, which he does.
Yeah.
If all those three things are yeses, then I'm going to say yes on the basis that this ends positively and amicably. But it goes back to like, I need to see some remorse and some accountability and some action. And respectfully, if you don't want to come back here, I'm saying here as in Baton Rouge, as if I'm there. I'm not there, but I will be soon enough.
Same.
If you want to come back, if you don't ever want to come back here, and we and this city and this state don't mean that much to you, then you shouldn't care if we retire your jersey.
That's facts.
Because we're not important enough for you to acknowledge that portion of your legacy. So if that's the case, no, I'm good.
Don't come back.
But if you want to have some remorse and show some accountability and show that you actually care about this university and this state, by all means, retire the jersey.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. I think it's hard because nobody ever would have I don't think I would have ever expected this from his camp. Like,
I would
there's
have
players
expected it
out
from his
there.
camp. I just wouldn't have expected it from
Well,
him.
from him directly. Yeah. His camp for sure. It's just hard because I think that even if Jayden deserves it, I think only Joe gets it.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock
That's
me.
personal opinion. Especially after everything, like you said, his parents come down here. They do charity work every year. You know, they have a foundation that they run out of the state, and they don't even actually run it. They have people run it for them out of the state, and they still come back. You know, the only game that Jayden Daniels has been to that's LSU affiliated was in Vegas when we got beat by USC.
USC.
He didn't even come back to LSU.
Yep.
He has not been back to LSU outside of visits for recruits and spring games. So it's like, if you really, like you're saying, if he loves this university, if he loves what he did, and now you have like Malik having to come out and be on your side against LSU, which is asinine to me, but whatever. That's
What's so funny is like you have like one guy coming out on your behalf, but like
and everybody
the amount
else
of
is
former
radio
players
silent.
that are raking you through the coals right now. So
Yeah.
you're one guy that was on your one team that also was the only reason like we had any kind of like success that year.
Mm-hmm.
But also another guy that's not willing to look at you and be like, hey, bro, you lost 3 games against ranked opponents. Like, probably not like
You were
a
2
hill
and 5
I'd be
total.
willing to die on. Yeah. Like,
yeah.
You got a bunch of yes men in your camp that are just telling you whatever you want to hear. And that's not gonna, it's not gonna work in football, and it's not gonna work in life.
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, Fournette came out and talked about it. Lenny did. Kerry Vincent came out and just talked. I mean, nobody's bigger than the brand.
Nobody.
Lane Kiffin knew that when he came here.
Yep.
Like, there's no one player that's bigger than it at all. Even Joe. I love Joe to death.
And I genuinely believe like part of Lane stepping away from social media and all of this is like kind of his acknowledgement that like all of his antics and stuff like that, like we're fine with it. Like we don't care.
Yeah, we think.
But
cool.
even like Lane, who's used to being like, it was like Lane, oh, he's the coach at Ole Miss. Like he put Ole Miss on the map. Like we're a brand with or without you.
Right. We don't need you to be on Twitter.
I mean, you can be. I laugh a lot less now that you're not on Twitter. I would love for you to come back. But I think even it like took some time for him to realize like, oh, like these people love me, but I'm just the next head coach at LSU.
Yeah.
And if I get fired, they gonna welcome in the next person.
LSU's still gonna be here. Yep.
Like the brand ain't changing.
Nope.
So
and we're one. Yeah. Anyway, it is what it is. But a question got asked of you. So, what is your prediction for Lane's? I don't know why they're just saying Lane's home games this year. LSU's home games this year. What's your prediction for the record for that?
I guess I would just.
You may pull up the schedule.
I don't actually know. I mean, I know our schedule. It's my wallpaper on my phone, for crying out loud. Okay, but
she don't need my help.
No, you're good. I got it. It's right here. Okay, let's see.
Hey, can I ask you a question before you start?
Sure.
Does your hand not get tired
of holding this?
Yeah.
No.
Girl, I'm like, I always see you holding that mic.
Light. It's so light. I need to get some. It's air. They're the best, by the way. But yeah, no. Also, when my videos are like 2 minutes long. Like if I got tired of holding this mic after 2 minutes, then someone like we got problems.
Yeah.
Okay, if you want me to be like just blatantly honest, I think we only lose 1 game at home.
Same. Which game?
And it's going to be Bama or Texas. I don't know which one. Okay. I lean Texas just because we know more about Texas right now. Also, I think like you get the bye week before you play Bama. So like you're coming off that like pretty well rested, hopefully not too beaten up. So I think you have like more rest and you're more healthy when you play Bama. And then that's an emotional, like heavy game. to have to turn around the next week and play Texas, who at that point could be undefeated.
Yeah.
They could also have lost 2 or 3 games. Like there's a lot of teams that have a lot of question marks.
Fact.
I would say the one team that I don't really have a lot of question marks about, we don't play. So I feel like we might have to see them in the SEC.
You talking about Georgia?
Yeah, I don't think there's a lot of questions about Georgia.
Nah, listen.
Their biggest question mark is their wide receivers room. And after SEC media days, when a media member like questioned Kirby about their wide receiver room, and he was like, I appreciate the questions because this just fires them up. I was like, mother trucker. Like,
yeah.
Why are y'all pissing off Kirby? What are y'all thinking? I'm like, that's how I know that you're a media person, not you don't operate from fandom, because we would never.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you lose to Bama or Texas. I lean Texas.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna be honest, like I think we could go 10-2 or 9-3. That was my next question. I lean 9-3. Okay. And I know that that's like very controversial. Because people are like, you have to make the playoff. Half the people think we have to make a natty. I'm like, all of you people are morons.
Yeah, they're stupid.
I'm like, no. I'm like, at this point, we're just like trying to not get a bid to the Texas Bowl. Like, I'm okay if we just get like a good bowl game again. I'm tired of playing in Houston. But yeah, I think I worry about Ole Miss, and I know that is something that like people don't want to hear. They're returning so much talent, and the reality is they didn't lose that much in the portal. So that team is still very much a cohesive unit. They brought back John David Baker as their offensive coordinator. He knows that offense very, very well. Trinidad was able to keep Joe Judge. You still have Kewan Lacey, who, regardless of who their running backs coach is I think they have the best quarterback running back duo in the country.
They just need to make sure they don't call timeouts when they don't need to.
The good news is like Pete is the defensive guy, but like he's not known for like these notorious like super aggressive, downright dirty defenses. Like Alabama fans hated him until he got the Ole Miss head coaching job. Like they hated him. So I'm not super worried about their defense, and I know we'll be so much better on offense. I have a little bit of concern about our defense. I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
Yeah, and it's not due to talent. I think that there's a little bit, and this I really am just saying whatever I think tonight, I guess. There's like this narrative that I don't know how it got started, but that we were like pretty good on defense last year. And we weren't. Like we weren't good on defense. Especially against like quarterbacks that are known to make plays.
Slash running. Marcel
Reed. So it's like there's that portion of it that does make me nervous, because you kept Blake Baker as your defensive coordinator. I don't have an issue with that. You have some of your veteran leaders. Whit Weeks will be back and be fully healthy. I think that might be part of why that narrative like happened, because as soon as we lost Whit, our defense
kind of slipped,
got significantly worse.
They sucked, yeah.
So that might be where it's coming from. But yeah, I have questions. All we're hearing out of fall camp is how good our defensive playmakers are. Like we've heard it over and over and over again. And that, while that gives me hope, I have been around this long enough to know that they can all say whatever the heck they want to say. And I'm not believing anything until I see that product on the field. Because Brian Kelly's over here last year, like, we're keeping receipts and we'll see you at the Natty. Bro, like, unless you were buying a ticket, you weren't going to the Natty. So I'm no longer like, the whole buy-in thing will happen when I am sitting my behind in Death Valley on week 1 watching us take care of Clemson. Until then, I got questions.
Okay. I respect it. I will say, I think that from a defensive perspective, I do think we've gotten better because...
Well, let's hope so.
Well, we would hope so, right? I think the talent's better. But I will say, like, whenever let's say Whit goes down, right? I'm gonna knock on wood real quick. Let's just say
Yeah.
it happens. Okay.
Please
Please God. Okay. Just keep the mullet or keep the long hair and don't fucking cut the facial hair again. No mustache. If we want to rent a cop, we go rent the movie. All
No,
right.
literally.
But we have TJ Daughtery there to kind of make up
Yeah.
for it now. We did not. I love Harold Perkins. We did not have the talent there, right? Understanding your position and your role is what we missed and we lacked last year.
No
And I
doubt.
think that the fact that one of our safeties who recently kind of got pushed to the side by a redshirt freshman, okay, Tamarcus Cooley, I'm just going to say his name.
Yeah, we got to.
He did miss some tackles and he made some bad plays.
Correct.
And so going back and rewatching, just to bring up Jayden Daniels again, but going back and rewatching the worst safety room we've ever had in LSU history.
God.
Okay. I don't really like to hate on players, but Sage Ryan does not deserve to ever touch a pair of cleats in his life ever again.
And
I
that's why
wasn't
I'm
even
like,
as bad as him.
Pete Golding
Like,
thought
dog.
he was a good get.
And he let him start. Like, what are we doing?
Literally.
Like he would have taken Major Burns and Sage Ryan as his starting safeties over Ty Benefield, knowing him. So it's like, just going back, I pissed myself off watching Jayden Daniels highlights today because then I had to watch the Ole Miss highlights, and I realized that, oh my God, like we should have won that game.
Correct.
But our safety sucked. Nothing against Andre Sam, the kid, he didn't have no help. So I mean,
right, yeah.
But, yeah, I just
you
think
had some stars
defense,
like come through in defense. They just like the cohesive unit of defense has not been great.
Well, I thought you were saying like they came through the wrong hole. Pause. But you see what I'm saying? Like they were just garbage. So
yeah,
no offense, but all offense to them. But I do think like having Deshaun Spears playing star is going to help us out drastically.
Agreed.
Right. I've kind of compared him to Kyle Hamilton a little bit.
Okay.
For the Baltimore Ravens. I think he has that length, right? But your safety position, your safety group is great. Your linebackers are good. I want to see what's behind Witt and them.
The talent is there.
I just don't know. I mean, we'll have to see. It's like saying our O-line is going to be great and we're going to be first in rushing. We have to see it first.
Right. No, exactly. Exactly. So, that's another, I mean, the trenches are also just everyone's talking about, we're talking about Sam Leavitt over and over and over again. We talk about Sam Leavitt until we're blue in the face, but if he doesn't have an offensive line, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, is he going to run left every time just to keep himself from getting in trouble?
Right. Like, what are
Weston Davis going to let him blow by him?
Yeah. What are we going to do here? So yeah, I just have questions, and okay. I think as conditioned as we are as fans, like I think we're all kind of a little bit skeptical, not because we don't trust Lane. It has nothing to do with our trust in our coaches, but like we've spent 4 years being gaslit into believing that we were something that we weren't. And even like I'm over here talking and saying like, oh no, I'll feel better after week 1. But it's like I felt really good after week 1 last year.
Yeah, you were probably turned. I was turned.
I was
like, hell yeah, we just beat Clemson.
Well, I was like, we won week 1. Let's go. Like,
yeah, we're the top 10 team in the country. Yeah.
Yeah. And you like go into Clemson, you beat Clemson. There's like all this hype about Club Nick maybe winning the Heisman or Nuss winning the Heisman. I'm like, we're gonna be good. Like he wasn't lying to us. We should have freaking known. And
who did we play second game of the season? Like Southeastern?
Who did we play? Someone bad. Yeah, it was someone really bad.
In every game that we played last year when we played horrible teams, we didn't do nothing. Nuss looked like he had just started his first game.
Yeah. No, it was just so I'm saying that I'll have all these answers after week 1. I don't know if that's even entirely true. And I struggle with like how we judge this team because I just am like, okay, week 1, like we don't really know if Clemson's good. Week 2, we're playing Louisiana Tech. Okay, like let's just call that what it is. Yeah. And then week 3, you have what is going to be quite possibly the most emotional game of Lane Kiffin's career.
And then follows with Texas A&M right after.
And then follows with Texas A&M at home. So it's like I don't know really when I'll feel good about what this team is doing or is capable of doing because I don't really know when they're going to get settled in. Like, do they settle in during the Louisiana Tech game and like just full focused on week 3 and it's only emotional for Lane and it's not emotional for the team? Or does that become like an emotional mess? And then we're all nervous for a straight week because now we have to go in and play a team that when they beat us, it's the year's successful. It doesn't matter what else happens if A&M beats
They're a national
LSU.
title
And
champion
if they
after
beat
that.
you in Death Valley 2 years in a row, we'll never hear the end of it. Every ounce of crap that I've talked is going to come back at me tenfold. It's already like starting to haunt me.
That's the one part of moving to Texas that I will never look forward to.
Oh no, it sucks. My dad lives in Texas and he's like, I hate it here. And he loves Texas, but he's like, these stupid Aggies. And he's like right in the middle of Austin and Houston. So if they're not an Aggie, they're a Longhorn. Like he can't win.
Oh, facts. Yeah,
and
no,
like,
I mean, at that point, you just might as well move to Dallas.
No, he hates Dallas. He's like, if he has to be in a city, he's going to Houston, 10 out of 10.
See, and he might as well just go back to Baton Rouge at that point.
Yeah, no, he would if he could.
Yeah. Well, Joy, I'm going to tell you this. It's been a blast having you on.
Thanks for having me.
I'm going to have you on again, hopefully soon, especially as the season starts, because I know we're going to have to hear what shit you need to talk come week 1. So I won't get to be at as many games as you will be this year, but I'm going to start getting to go to more games, and my family vacations are now going to be centered around LSU. So
as they should be. The one issue I have with this whole year is my best friend decided that her wedding needed to be one destination wedding. So we're going to the Dominican Republic.
Okay.
And then she chose to get married on the first weekend of November. So the good news is I'm not saying where I'm going just for safety.
Yeah, please
reasons.
don't. No. Yeah. You're right. I remember you said that.
No, you're good. So everyone knows I'm going to LSU Clemson week 1, but that's pretty much all I've said. But she is getting married on a Friday. So the good news for me is that I'm going to be in an all-inclusive resort watching LSU Bama. So no matter which way that game goes, your girl's going to be turned, which is just going to be the way that I'm probably going to have to live most of this season. I'm going to a lot of our away games. So if we're not very good, it's going to suck.
Yeah.
It's going to suck.
Yeah, that's facts. Well, I'll tell you this. I know I will be on a cruise ship come week 1. Not a very well-planned time for my mom to schedule and pay for a cruise, right? But she paid for it, so I got to go.
You got to go.
But I have to do a pregame and a postgame show from a cruise ship about Clemson game 1.
You better really hope they have good Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Because Wi-Fi on some of those boats is not it.
Yeah, so we'll see. If they have some package for me to pay for better Wi-Fi, I might just have to do it, but we'll find out. But anyway, I will be going to a couple games this year. Hopefully I'm able to get to Knoxville. I went to school like right down the street from there, so I want to go back to Neyland because last time I was there we beat them. Yeah. So and the power went out whenever I was at the game.
It's going to be so toxic too. Like everyone's talking about how toxic LSU Ole Miss is going to be. I'm like, no, these Tennessee fans are pretending they're Ole Miss fans. So they're going to hate you as much as Ole Miss does.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this. I don't know if you saw my clip, but I had Ole Miss fans coming out saying that the Fatties united with me and Blake Ruffino. They pulled a Facebook picture of me from when I got married 3 years ago when I was like a good 30 pounds heavier.
I'm dead.
And I'm like, oh, thanks, bro. And they're like, oh, Ozempic did so good for you. I'm like, bro, all right, listen, like we ain't doing that shit. I ain't doing with y'all. I will look up your IP address. Like, stop.
I think it's so funny because I feel like for the longest time, like women were the only ones that were doing that. Like we could make fun of someone, like specifically a man, and like it wasn't really a big deal because like most of the time they came at us first, and everyone's like, well, that's an easy target for them. Why are men looking up other grown men's social media accounts and screenshotting that like that? Why is that saved on your phone? Like that is so creepy to me. I've always thought like the people that like the men that posted that, I'm like, it says more about you posting that than it does about them.
And I don't think they understand you can find where they live just from getting their IP address from their Twitter account.
Oh yeah. No, I have threatened many an A&M burner. I've been like, buddy, you might want to check yourself.
I've seen it. I remember that. that.
After the LSU Florida or LSU A&M baseball series. Yeah, no, I was not playing around. I thought it was so funny because I'd also just met Lane and a lot of like the staff. And I was like kind of telling them because that day, like it was popping off. Like I met Lane on a Thursday and then I went back to football ops on Saturday. So Saturday, like it's all going down and I'm like in football ops and they're like, all right, we're going to post, we're going to tag it. I was like, okay, just a heads up. Like you might get some Aggies coming at you because they're mad at me. And I like had to tell the story of what happened. And they were like, Joy, we got attorneys and stuff. Like, you just let us know what you need. And I was like,
we'll
thank you
handle
so
that.
much.
Talk about a cease and desist, right?
Yeah, exactly. Now they're over here dealing with Jayden Daniels and cease and desist.
Yeah, which is crazy. But hey, leave my girl Joy alone. You got the whole fan base on your back. So, but I will be putting in an
not
order
everyone.
for
Lon Phillips
not
should
everyone.
Let me
Well, hey, listen, I'll tell you this. Most people that don't like Joy can kick rocks barefoot. And if you don't want to do that, she'll make sure you do it anyway. So she can handle her own. She don't need none of us. So but I'm gonna have to try and see if I'll be allowed to wear one of your hats to the LSU game that I'm going to, because I'll be credentialed.
You can absolutely wear one. I know other media members that have done it.
Bet. So I'll be wearing one of your hats.
I'll just bring it on the sidelines with me, and we'll just do a quick little handoff.
Yeah, just hand it to me.
Yeah, we'll
handle it.
We'll handle it. We got this.
All right, big dog. Well, I appreciate you so much. I'm so glad to have you on here. I do need to still send you some stuff for them shirts if you didn't get rid of them.
Yeah, no, I haven't got rid of them. They're just sitting in my house.
She knows what it is. Go Braves.
Sure.
Whatever.
Anyway. All right. Have a good night, Austin. Thanks.
All right. Appreciate you. You're welcome. All right, y'all. So Daily Joy joined. Make sure, if you guys don't know, y'all know her better than you know me. Ain't no question about it. So go follow her, go love her, and like her brand. If your wife needs a SEC pretty hat for any team that the SEC represents, okay? And I'm talking about Arkansas. I'm talking about Vanderbilt, UT Knoxville, Texas, any of the schools that you probably can think of. She has them all. And if you just want a basic hat, you can probably buy a Vanderbilt hat. It looks basic enough. It can go with a lot. So just keep that in mind. Thank you, Joy, for joining. And guys, I kind of want to end on this. Okay. So questions that I'll ask, and I'll kind of let marinate with y'all as we're getting out of here, as I go spend time with my family, is what do y'all think about everything that has gone on this last 24 to 48 hours? Was Jayden Daniels and his camp justified in asking the questions and sending cease and desist over? Should DJ Pickett get to wear that number? I think he should, but I'll let y'all answer that as well. And lastly, okay, if you enjoyed this episode of the Fourth and Go podcast, please make sure that you go share the show. So my boy Den, okay, some others, please go share the show. Please make sure to show us love. We are here doing and building something that I hope that everybody in the LSU network, as well as this community, are proud of. And it's just the ability to build the brand. So I want to say this. I love all of you guys. I appreciate all of you guys for what you're doing and how you're coming. And pause. And I want to make sure that we're doing it right by all of y'all. So I love you. I thank you. Thank you so much for being a part of this brand. Thank you so much for subscribing to the brand. And I'm actually going to drop the link here in the bio for y'all to come and subscribe if you have not already. Okay. Like I said, we are not far off of having 1,000 subscribers. Disclosure. We are not far off of having 1,000 subscribers. We want to get there soon. So if we can do that, that would be outstanding. Love you. Appreciate you. Have a great night. Thank you so much. Peace.